All right, welcome to the show.
Welcome, everyone. Today we have Dr. Kimberly McGeorge with us.
Yes, and she's coming on, and um, the list of things we could talk about today is
broad.
vast, but we narrowed down to 4 subjects that we're excited to hear about. So we'll have Dr. Kimberly McGeorge kind of lead off and tell us.
Tell us about yourself.
Yeah.
Where do I start? I'll just start at childhood, which is a good place to start. So I was born what's called partially awake. And how I interpret that phrase is it was blank, and then I woke up in a baby body and I'm like, WTF? Like, how do I get out of here? Like, why can't I walk? Like, the brain I have now is exactly the same brain. The memory I have now is exactly the same memory. So, like, a lot of people can't remember being a baby or remember being a toddler or remember their younger years. Unfortunately, I can't. It was not very fun. So I came in with this memory that there was something before this, because how did I get like this and nobody else was acting like this type of thing. So that was my first tip off that I might be a little strange. And then when I was 2 or 3, I used to, go to bed at night, and I lived outside Chicago. And this is my next tip off. I might be a little strange. Was anytime I heard a siren, I would see a disaster image. So it might be a fire, it might be a suicide, it might be a murder, it might be a kidnapping, it might be an injury, it might be nothing, a domestic fight. Of course, at 3, I had no way of checking the records of if it really matched. Like if when I heard a fire siren, it was a fire. But I suspect now, with what I know about remote viewing, that if we could go back and pull the records with my memories, I bet it would match exactly. I bet I was taken to that scene with the introduction of the sound. I thought everybody could do that. So when my brother came along, I would talk to him about, do you hear the sirens and see pictures? And he's like, what are you talking about? Just crazy reactions. I didn't go to school till I was 5 or 6, but the things that I knew about people, I knew about their parents, I knew about them. Nobody else talked like me or relate. Like basically nobody was an adult in like a 5-year-old body. So very bored child, got into a lot of trouble because of that. Fast forward, to older school, began to feel really crazy because I sat in class and drew the forest and the trees and daydreamed and, went on adventures, and everybody else just acted like a kid. And so when I left, my family home, I grew up in a very religious, very strict, of course, family home, and none of this was accepted. And so I really didn't come out with it again until I was in college. And I just couldn't resist, when you're sitting around with a bunch of girls or a bunch of guys and they're like, oh, I know my boyfriend's cheating on me. And I'd be like, no, he's not. And they're like, no, but he does this and this. And I'm like, no, but he does this and this is why it looks like he's cheating. Or the opposite, I love my, girlfriend so much. She's so wonderful. I'm like, no, she's not. She's dating 3 other guys. Here's their names. Here's where they live. Here's where you can go at what time to catch her. So I became really, really popular in college. And there was this joke with my ex-fiance and I, and he used to say, you just know things. And he would say it in this really spooky voice. But I did. And I still do.
You just knew things.
Yeah, so that's another one of my abilities. But so I really didn't come out with it till then. Do you want me to keep going, or do you have any comments?
Well, I want to drag off one real quick question.
Okay.
So you're talking about you're born and you
Partially
have
awake.
memories of your childhood, like young childhood then, huh?
If you call memories laying around, not being able to walk memories, absolutely.
So
Yes.
So you recognized I don't know, do you want to call it being an invalid when you're a child, but you recognize that for what it was then.
Just how limiting an infant body is.
Man, I'll bet that was that right there would have to be
terrifying.
It was excruciatingly boring. When you come in with like this weird resonance memory, it wasn't just like picture memory. I had a little bit of like actual picture memory, but when you've lived a full life on Earth right before and you remember that, and then you have to like go on like I just remember being in the car and having to go to the doctor and the dentist and all this stuff. It felt, I can't explain the feeling. You kind of pegged it, Jared. It was like this excruciating, almost like torture. I know that sounds really stupid,
Oh,
but it was so torturous to do all those redundant things when when I just had such a strong memory of being a viable adult.
oh, I imagine. I imagine that would be, especially if you have. So when you say memories of like a past life memory, then you had
Right.
you had memories of being and well, I wouldn't want to say that you weren't an active thinking person, because if you had memories of that, then you currently are that. But I mean, that would have to be torture. That'd be like being in a prison, I think.
I guess that's probably what being in like paralyzed whole body is similar to,
Yeah.
or being in a coma where they say you can see and hear, but you can't move. I never thought about that. I actually really appreciate you like taking that connection, because I think you're going to help me describe it in the future. I've never really had someone pick up on that as astutely as you just did. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it'd be a torture.
So do you remember how your previous life ended as well?
I do not, but I remember further back. So now I know I'm super, super old, which kind of makes sense because some of the most, and we'll get into Jared later. I'll talk to him a little bit about this, but some of the oldest and most powerful souls, have that memory. So I don't remember I remember a few littles. It's really cool. I've actually run into, about 10 years ago, I ran into a man that I've had many, 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 many lifetimes with. Some people would call it a soulmate. We really don't have soulmates because we're such infinite, like we live so long and we're eternal souls. You just don't choose the same thing. Like you'd be bored. Like when you're this really powerful being with all these abilities and you're on all these different planets and in all these different realms and doing all these different things, you really don't want to hang out with the same people like for billions of years. You might think you do. I mean, think about being like with your spouses or with your kids. I mean, my kids have lived with me when they're adults, and I'm like, could you please move out? Like, I can't live with my kids for 5 months. Like, how am I going to be with the same people for
An
billions
infinite
of years?
amount of lifetimes.
Yeah, so I've run into a lot of people that are older souls, but so I remember some of more like the back memories, like thousands or millions of years ago, and it's really interesting. I know we're not really going to go deep into this. We'll talk a little bit about it because of your subjects, but I've always been involved with sound and frequency and technology and creating technology devices. So to so quickly find it in this lifetime, well, not super quickly, but by my 30s, I'd already gone back to who I was. I think that also attests to this resonant memory that you carry that they can't memory wipe out of you when you come in. Like when you're such an old being, you just have a resonance. Even the most sophisticated technology that they're using nowadays for, memory wiping that they use on all of us, which is another rabbit hole, they can't get the old souls. You do have some idea of who you are at the core.
Okay.
So they can't get deep enough to erase
That's what
all of those,
There you go.
residual infinite memories.
Right. They could do, maybe they can do the last couple 100 years, or maybe they can get some of the older ones, but they just can't corral these powerful, infinite, fancy that, beings. They try and they do a really great job. A lot, we're really, really, really dumbed down. We're really, really repressed. We're really programmed. You guys know the program. I heard you talking about some of it.
Yeah.
We birthday parties, weddings, funerals, baby showers, church functions, baseball games. Come on. We all know the programs, but
Yeah.
They get everybody to do all these, in whatever culture that just happens to be, our culture. But where's the time, like between going to work, making 3 meals a day? There's also a food program. Do we have time to remember? Where do we have time to go sit in nature and remember? Or even, you're a mom, right?
Mhm.
Moms, we don't even have, we barely know who we are. Like we just function in that mom role. We don't
Sometimes
have time
I get to noon and I'm like, did I shower? I don't know.
Exactly. So they've got us where they want us, in my opinion.
Now, when you say they, is it like, are you talking about like when you're,
I love Jared. He's hilarious.
when you're moving between lives, there's a group that their kind of job is to Reset you?
Yeah. So, well, the whole white light, you know how Ghost Whisperer, she's like, go into the white light. And I always want to say, "Run." Not go into the white light. That's how they get you. So it's not your grandma, it's not you, it's beings and different groups that want to harvest you because we're powerful beings.
Oh.
This whole universe runs on us. And so, of course, the group is going to want to snatch us and funnel us back to continue running this world because they don't have fire creation spirit. Only people like you and I have the fire creation spirit. There's 39 different planetary groups that have been here always, forever and ever, and they harvest and feed on us in many different ways, literally, as we know now with all the adrenochrome leakage, so literally, but also figuratively with our energy.
Oh, so they harvest it. Are we like I don't know, like a cosmic energy force? When we pass away, they harvest us, and what are they harvesting?
They're harvesting your essence. So if you can imagine like a chemical blazing fire that can create anything out of nothing, that's what the human fire creation spirit is. We're one of the only races of spirits that has the ability and the wide variety of talents to do that. So they literally harvest your fire creation energy. And a lot of the inventions they've stolen from beings like us, and then they put them under the name of like Tesla, who's actually not, that's a whole nother bunny trail. There's nothing new under the sun. Only new things come from fire creation spirits. No other race, well, very few other races. That's not true, no other races, but many of the races do not have the ability to create out of nothing. Now, I'm not religious, but that would resonate with people that are religious because we've heard that term, ex nihilo, out of nothing, which is how God created the world.
So do you think that the story that in most cases we sell ourselves, the story that we are here to continue to learn and grow, do you think that is literally just a way that it's just another form of control? The idea that we've come back again.
I don't know why I'm on the show. I think you guys have figured out. Yeah, absolutely, Betsy. That's brilliant. It is. And so can we learn here? 100%. There is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to expand, and you can actually start to be just as powerful here as you can outside of here, or when you're free of here. There's, tips and tricks to do that. But, this is a prison planet. Do you pay taxes?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Damn it.
Pay taxes upon taxes, like we're taxed upon. It's crazy. Like just the taxes tell us it's a prison planet. We're just so restrained. Do you go to what's public school? Public school is the programming centers. I see the poor little school bus. This is really mature. I shouldn't say this on anything ever. I'll get in trouble with my management team. But they'll say, why do you say stuff like that? But I see the school bus go down the road and I yell, prison bus. It's like habit. I just do. I just can't help it. All schools look like prisons. All prisons look like schools. And the only difference between a prison bus and a school bus is the color.
Yeah. And we call it the baby penitentiary at my house.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are so.
We do.
I love that.
My political leanings are a crazy person, and Betsy, she actually pulled her children out of school and homeschools them. So,
brilliant.
We both.
I did that, and my daughter just got into Johns Hopkins. So don't let anybody tell you can't do it. You can do it. Go, girl.
Yeah. It's this crazy paradigm that I find myself in, where I know I've been programmed to believe that children should go to school and they need to learn and they need to learn this and they need to learn at this age. I understand intrinsically that is my programming, but I fight with it every week when I'm like, okay, what should we cover? Because it's the programming. You're told from a very young age, go to school, go to school. You won't make anything of your life if you don't go to school, And I really want to unschool my children.
Love that.
But my programming I have to keep reminding myself that this is appropriate and it's okay to not follow the regime.
School. Both of you, did you guys go to school, whatever school you went to? Did either of you go to college, or did you just graduate high school, or what did you guys do school-wise?
I graduated high school.
Okay.
Well, I graduated almost high school, then went to the Army. Betsy
Oh, you
did a
went to
little bit of college.
Yep,
Okay.
and I did
Right.
some college.
Yeah.
Then you did some college, and I did a lot of schooling. And I'm telling you, and I will stick to this, the only thing I ever learned in school that was useful, other than my being, who is who I am. We always think we have to find our purpose. We don't. Your purpose is to remember who you are. Once you remember who
Yes.
you are, you'll make money all day long, all year long, and it'll come to you in waves. But the only thing I've ever used is a little bit of business math, and specifically business math, and learning to read. I have not used anything ever in any of my careers, and I've been successful in a couple different careers. So I think that's telling.
Yeah. Well, I need to learn to read. And
Stop.
the weird thing was, in the military, I used a lot of algebra.
Did you really? See,
Yeah,
now I'm glad you told me that, because I've never heard
'cause-
anyone say that. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, when you're shooting guns and there's different distance and accounts you have to take for, you use a lot of algebra, and it's weird equations, and you kind of learn to memorize to work just one equation down and
Okay.
just add little decimals in where you need it, or add points in where you need it. But other than that, I mean, I don't know what else they teach me in school. I learned to color in coloring books, I think, and I haven't colored in a coloring book except with nieces and nephews.
Oh my gosh, Boris.
But yeah,
So I want you to tell us about auras. I think
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have a little bit of knowledge about auras, and it is a totally strange subject to most people. Tell us about it. Where does it come from?
yeah.
How long have you been able to see them? And what do you glean from knowing
And-
somebody's aura?
What shade of green am I?
We'll get to that. All right. So the first time I knew that I could see auras was when I was 5 years old, and my mom said, because this is very important in the programming, we all have to know what your child's favorite color is. I mean, you're gonna
Yes.
know that. So she said, Kimberly, what is your favorite color? And I'm like, F if I care. I mean, I'm this adult still trying to figure out how, I think I'm still studying. I'm still trying to figure out how to get out of this place. And
If
how
you
I live in
ask
this
me one more stupid question,
You're blinking in Morse code.
I'm gonna go Chucky baby on you guys in a minute. But my kids always joke about that. But so I just looked up at her, and I'm like, just to get past the question, and I saw yellow and orange around her. So I said, yellow and orange. So that's how I knew. I mean, I didn't know it was called aura. I didn't know. I mean, I've always seen things like that. So to me, you just look, there it is. Now I lost that, as I got older, but at that point, that's why I picked my favorite colors and how I got stuck with a yellow and orange. I really didn't want it,
yeah.
but that's how I got stuck with a yellow and orange room, because my mom had a yellow and orange aura. So an aura is a tricky thing. So you go to these metaphysical shows. I don't know if you guys ever have or seen, they take those pictures and they get these big, deep readings. Ours are tricky. With my technology, I know it pretty well. I know the differences of who you are, or if it's going to be kind of a shifting aura. And we're going to see this today, which I'm really glad we pulled two different auras. So you, Betsy, you're kind of fragmented and not fully in your body right now. So you have a lot going on and you're juggling a lot. And so your aura is not going to represent like the potent force of who you are. And I don't know if this is your personality, Jared, but you're a little more chill and a little more centered, and you don't quite have as much going on right at this second. So your first pull aura is going to show us like more your soul aura, but we're going to find some interesting things from yours too, Betsy, but they're not going to be like, it's not going to be necessarily who you usually are. Yours is more reflecting like what's going on this weekend, the last couple months.
Amen.
All right. So what an aura is, it's basically, and it's not just the aura. The aura is one tiny millimeter fragment of the frequencies that are within your field. The aura is just kind of the combination of everything in your field, and it's just broadcasting in color. So it's a big picture of what's happening with you or who you are, yes, at this moment. In Jared's case, it's pretty much who he is most of the time, who he is as a soul. In your case, it's what's happening at this moment. Do people's auras change? Yes, but soul colors don't change. So when I'm centered and I'm calm, which is not too often, but my aura will vacillate between the same two colors, green and purple. It'll either be all green or all purple most of the time. we see the other colors come in, and when you guys put them up or when we read them, I'll go into that when other things are happening. So if I get yellow in my aura, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. If I start getting a bunch of colors, I know I need to kind of come into center, because we think it's a good thing. Oh, we do this and this and this, and we're like 8 people. We call those altars in psychiatry. It's not a good thing to be a schizophrenic person in one body. It's not a good thing to be joyful and angry and sad and calm and depressed. And so we like to see a nice one color aura, so that when you bring all, it's going to be green because you're really connected to, earth, and you're centered and you're communicating with earth, and it's going to be real, high frequency. We want to see you bring that full potency of your being to what you're doing at that time. And if you're arguing with your spouse, I'd rather see a whole red aura, hot, hot, hot. I want you to be angry. If you're going to be angry, don't waste energy. Be angry. Bring all of yourself, get it all out, and then move on. So we call that integration, and you'll see various degrees of integration in your two's auras. So there's a lot of fine points about auras that you don't get at the metaphysical shows. So what do I use an aura for? I use it because when I'm working with someone, we can chart the higher advanced spiritual progress of people by expansion, by integration, by how sharp and pretty the colors are. And as you start to lose your trauma that you've accumulated throughout lifetimes, as you become less angry and centered, you're going to start to see your colors come up. So we kind of use it as a rough guide to how the client's doing at the time.
Oh,
it's a lot to think about.
Okay, so you said you did an aura reading on each of us, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to read it live.
And that was based on a photo we sent to you, or kind of based on today?
Well, no. Oh, I didn't explain that part, because see, to me, it's just like my life. So sorry, I'll back up. You're going to explain that important part. So you know how we're talking right now? Like, I don't know where you guys are, but I'm in North Carolina, sitting at my counter, and where you guys are in your little studio, wherever you are. And there's no time or distance. All time is now. So frequency knows no time and space. So I actually just grabbed a picture of you, Jared, off of here. And then I took your picture that was sent to me by Michelle. But what is so cool about the energy field and the body, both, you've heard of like reflexology and all the lines in the feet, and people push and rub the feet. Well, the 1 foot is the entire map of your whole body, physically and emotionally and energetically. And it's the same thing. So a photograph, those cultures like Africa, if you go into Africa, you start to take pictures, boom, 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 boom. They'll be like, no, curses upon you,
Yeah, you're stealing their soul.
They know something that we have not been taught in the Western cultures. They know, and actually, I can know anyway, but if you get a picture of someone, you can know absolutely, and I want you to hear me, anything. Not just what their aura says, anything. Well, I can anyway, but a good person with a good piece of tech with a picture knows all your secrets.
So if I'm a let's say 19-year-old girl that's blonde and scares her uncle to death, and every time I pass by a bathroom mirror, I take a picture, am I giving up a lot?
You're giving a piece of energy to alien groups that have technology that you don't know about that can use that and make clones out of it. All sorts of things. There's also, my family works in human cloning. Everybody's like, oh, they just cloned a ferret. I'm like, honey, they've been cloning humans on this planet in our world for like 60 years. Like,
they make another you?
What you don't know is so big.
What do they do with the other you that they make?
They need
not
to
everybody
do my
is
dishes.
Clone material, but you want to hear something? I don't know how far down the rabbit hole I should go with you guys. It's a good thing your kids are not in school. What is that company that they come into schools, you guys, and take the pictures of the kids, and
Life
you get
Touch.
them?
Yeah, Life Touch, yeah.
Okay, so Life Touch is owned by a genetic material company.
Really?
It's used as a catalog for the elite.
For the what?
To make your child or my child made into clones so that they can sexually abuse them and sell them on the black market.
So they're
not your children. They don't have spirits in them. They're just.
They make a clone of the child.
Catalog is used for. It's used. Yeah, it's a catalog. All those pictures they send home free. Aren't they nice, Mom? They send them home free, and then they look through and they say, I want to order 3 of that boy, 4 of that girl, flip, 5 of that kid, 6 of that kid. Yeah, it's a catalog.
I'm glad I was an ugly kid.
I'm sorry. They're like,
Man.
we're doing this shit. Isn't that sick? It's so sick. But do you see how we're programmed? What are we programmed?
Yeah. What's
We're just
strange?
programmed.
What's strange is I know this to be likely to be happening, even though this is the first I've heard of it. I'm not questioning it. Is
Yeah.
that weird? Like it seems that.
No, because I've seen who you guys are. It's not weird to me.
Yeah, that it.
Well, it's just it's. I mean, just especially everything that came out last year or the year before with Epstein and everything else, and
Exactly.
it's just all too creepy, way too creepy.
It is.
Boy, that gives you a different
Well, pretty much.
perspective on those for sure.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that they're so good at what they do. They are so. It's funny.
It's in plain sight.
I'm getting dive bombed by planes right now, you guys. You know why? Because I'm naming names.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I know we're live, but I gotta grab a snapshot. I gotta grab the end number of that so I can turn it in. I'm sorry. This
Yeah.
happens to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
sorry. I'm getting like dive bombed. They do not like me talking about this. All right. Hold on. Almost got it. Already got it.
So
Yeah, they just went up 3 minutes ago. So it's me. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
when so now the nefarious groups, if they're using the clones for sexual, but you said something in there that that there's alien technology involved, and what are they using it for? Or are they just making money off
So
the
many
deal?
groups that do so many, like some people use clones for sexual things. Some people, this is horrible, use clones for meat. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not going to name. I'll get in big trouble if I name this, but there is a major, starts with a C and ends with an L. That's all I'm going to say. But there's a major meat distributor
Mhm.
that distributes all the meat to all the fast food restaurants all over the world, including in the United States. And they have human meat warehouses. I've spoken to an employee, of course, who will not go on record ever, who has shared that with me. They have walked into human meat warehouses where there's just, so some of the clones are used literally as human meat.
Yeah, well, and there have been whistleblowers who have done collection samples and had it
Okay.
tested, and it's actually come back that there is actual human DNA in this product
Funny
line.
though, because people are like, oh, that's just the remainder, and this is bad enough. You guys have probably heard that's just the remainder of the satanic, like that's okay. The satanic sacrifices, kind of no, but it's also deliberately farmed. China and Japan and all those shipping containers supply us with a lot of U.S. human meat.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
I did not know this was going to go this way. I'm sorry, you guys.
Oh,
It's
you're
just
No.
no, you're fine.
Good
No,
stuff.
we know.
This is
traumatized.
exactly what our listener base listens to.
Oh, okay, good. So I won't traumatize them.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good.
Well, I mean, I'm traumatized from it, but it's not your fault. I'm traumatized that they do it. I mean, we know China does some creepy stuff, especially like they've got a market where they harvest Uyghur organs for wealthy
Yeah, to be
Muslims.
resold.
That way they've got halal organs to give to the princes
Crazy.
of wherever.
It's so sick here. So sick here.
All right, so let's talk about our aura readings. Where do you want to start?
Yes. Okay, let's start. I have Jared up, so can we do Jared? Because I have him.
Okay. And did you send us something to show the viewers?
Yeah.
We got a picture here. It looks like you sent. I will.
I sent 2. Did you get both? Or do I
Yeah,
need
go to
resend?
your email and see if you got another one from her.
Okay. But yeah, go ahead and keep talking while
Okay.
I
And I
get
marked
this
it up a little bit. So I'll start with the positive. So I really like that you're so intuitive, Jared. The purple shows intuition. You also have assistance from outside this reality, which is really good. And you sometimes connect to information outside this reality, which is excellent, because everything, of course, in this reality is basically a lie. So to get your truth, you really need to go outside directly to source, whether your spirit group, your original planets, or your memory. You're pretty muted though, so you are definitely not living in the fullness of who you are. I don't think you have full memory of who you are as a soul, but I do think you have partial memory, or you're figuring it out. You do have some green. Was it you that said you'd have green? You do have some green, so you are a good communicator. You are a good healer. There's an overlay of darkness. So we'll dig deeper into that. I don't remember if it came up in your scan or not. So that can mean a couple different things. It can mean, there's darkness in your home or land needs cleared. Could mean toxicity. It's not super horrible, so I doubt it's anything like, you've got demons dancing on your roof or anything, but it can mean a lot of things. I can look at a thing. Hold on, let me look really quick. It could also mean you're just not clearing yourself when you go. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to clear myself.
Yeah, so you do have dark forces around you, which dark forces are a higher level, but I think you have dark forces around you because they like to keep you nice. And, this is a fun little show. You're allowed to do this. Good job. And they want to kind of keep you here. They don't want you to really go into your power because I always say this, one or two of us awaken, this planet turns around completely. It's not a prison planet anymore. We take it back and go on, just as we do have through all eternity, happy and peaceful and in creation and doing whatever we want to do. Really, people compare this reality to a movie. It's really more like a video game. And they even have what's called Sims players. Is that word familiar to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
SIMS, The Sims?
Yeah,
So
I know that.
that's a game, right? It's not a game. It's exactly how the dark matrix computer runs this reality. I can send you a picture when we get off of the matrix computer chip that sits on our sun that runs this reality.
Like a Dyson sphere?
It's
Like on the sun, a Dyson sphere?
it's actually you can see the wings. It's a ship. It's a plane ship, like a Star Trek type ship.
Oh.
And there is a dark forest demon. A number of them have been killed, but they just switch out. They're responsible for maintaining and repairing. So how they always talk about sun flares? Like if you go to these different YouTube channels, there's like, oh, there's a sun flare. Watch out for this. You never have to worry about sun flares. The sun flares are the allies, not allies as we think of them, but the allied forces off planet trying to destroy the sun simulator, because our sun is not real, so that we can get out the Stargate behind it, and then then we're free as souls.
Okay. So
sorry, I'm just chattering random information while I'm reading. You started that. I will say something really cool about you that I realized just being in your guys' presence, Jared. Jared is what I call like a level up. So he's such an old, he has so much magic in him. I love people like him because he doesn't have to say anything. He can just sit there and I level up and I open up and I see new things and I get new ideas. So his being is super potent. He's very heart-centered at his core, and he's chosen light most of his existences, unlike some of us who have chosen darkness most of our existences. So they've really done a number on him to have him here. I'm sure they're really tickled.
Well,
I dig it.
What does that mean that all of that?
I love how you guys are speechless. I love making people speechless.
I've always said that Jared is an old wise soul, and Jared's always said, "No, this is my first go
I was
around."
a cockroach in the last.
Oh no, it's not. That's a lie.
Maybe
no,
a butterfly if I wanted to be pretty.
Most of the time, your essence, I'd rather you remember it, but I'll tell you your essence. So my essence is technology and warrior. Your essence is warrior magician.
A magician. I see. I like that. I like the sound of that a lot.
That's who you are. You don't have, it's like coming off you. It's like the frequency of magician. Like you are like the Merlin character, and you have been in different places in history. You have been involved in different political things like that. You have been sought after. You have been also, obviously, you've risen to high places of honor because of course you've also suffered because of it and been stoned and been hanged and been burned,
Yeah, well, I haven't been stoned in a while, but no, I'm just
I'm sure Betsy could arrange a stone.
But yeah, see.
But when you look at your arm, I want you to see the egg shape. So you see how there's like gray above and it's like has a roundness, and then at the bottom it goes down to like an egg shape. That's because you are repressed from outside of yourself, but you're allowing it. So you're allowing the weight of the world, the programming, to keep you small. When you let that go and you start to understand who you are and you go into expansion, you'll blow that out. And like your aura would reach all the way from the top to the bottom.
Okay.
So is that like let me pull it back up because it's grabbing weird stuff. So it looks like on the picture, when I pull it up, it shows there's like a line of aura coming in.
And then I can see the egg shape you're talking about.
Yeah, and then there's an egg shape. Is that line of aura coming in? Is that so? Is the aura
your original, that percentage right there? You're also sitting on a little bit of that is the essence of who you are. If they said pick what color when he is most highly evolved here or elsewhere, what colors is Zara going to throw? It's going to be violet purple. It's going to be the highest intuition, the highest spirituality, the highest wisdom.
See, I guessed it.
I know. I got a little green in there though.
You do have.
Yeah, you do have healer and you do have communicator. You wouldn't be drawn to this show. I mean, like I said, we have lots of aspects, but we do all have who we've chosen to be, where we've played most often. And of course we're going to choose that because that's who we are. That's what's fun for us. So most often you have played in the mystical and the metaphysical and the magical realm. That's who you are. You know, I magician, warrior second to magician.
Huh.
I dig it.
That's see, and the interesting thing is I have no perception at all. Like I don't.
Because you're memory wiped every night. They memory wipe. They have a download. They have a crystal. You know, when all these planes, they're like, they're spraying whatever, makeup, whatever. You know, people say they're spraying. One of the main things they spray is a crystal matrix. It's a crystal coating. Sometimes you can see it on your skin. You'll see little crystals. And those crystals actually record every thought, every emotion, everything that happens during your day, every event. They download it into the mainstream computer on the sun simulator, usually different times around the world, but usually they'll download it around midnight before the next day. And that's why I tell everybody to take a shower before they go to bed, because you can somewhat wash some of the crystallization off. And sometimes, you know, if you use essential oils or a nice little scrub and actually, you know, scrub your skin, you can usually get most of it. And they'll be like, corrupted files, darn, they pulled us again.
What would they be looking to learn from me or to gain from me?
Well, not just, download? I mean, control, how to refine,
how to keep
your spirit, how to kill your psychic abilities, how to get you back here or to another prison planet. We're not the only prison planet. This is like one of the most, I hate to say this because it's so crappy too, but compared to like Mars and other prison colonies, this is like heaven.
Oh, this is the easy one.
Yeah, this is a glorious, you know, prison planet compared to others.
I mean, I could see that. I could see how that would be.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, there's places I wouldn't want to be on Earth that I think might be worse. We're definitely in like on our prison, we work in the laundry in the kitchen. I mean, we could end up in like some parts of Africa or
exactly.
China where, you know,
or mining. Like Mars is a big mining, you know, prison colony, and you fight a lot of really nasty creatures and you get your limbs torn off. Like there's just worse places, guys.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay.
But only people leave. This is like, you know, like when Martha Stewart got caught with her tax stuff and she went to that like pushy.
Yes.
She's like, I mentioned it, and we made like homemade apple pies together with my friends. Like that's this prison planet. Like we're the elite prisoners, so you know why they treat us well? Because we're so freaking dangerous. Because if we remembered who we are,
I like that.
So they have to make it just comfortable enough. They have to get you distracted with the Avalon program. That's a good one. What is the Avalon program?
Yeah, what's the Avalon program?
Once upon a time, Disney, you have to get married. Boy meets girl meets girl, man meets man. And these days, whoever, it doesn't matter. You have to fall in love. You have to find your soulmate. Very distracting. I've been married. You guys might be married. I think you are for sure.
I tried it a couple times.
You don't only get a husband or a wife. You get the freaking in-laws and the cousins and the kids and the drama and that program will keep you spinning until the day you die. The Avalon program, again, in a relationship, if you have a good relationship, as you guys know, takes time and energy. You don't have time and energy to remember who you are, practice your abilities, or get out of here.
That's a good point.
Brilliant. These people are brilliant. These are not stupid beings.
Yeah, I have I I've tried marriage a couple times. I wasn't very good at it though.
I wouldn't imagine you would be.
See, there's a
In a
reason.
positive way. I mean that actually, I mean that in a positive way.
Yeah. It-
Beings like you, people like you and I, beings like you and I aren't, no. We have bigger things to do than, no offense, Betsy, marriage.
yeah.
Do you want me to talk about your aura, Betsy?
Yes.
All right. So again, I want to say, this is not, there's no time for the essence of Betsy at this moment. So this is not a reflection of who you are as a soul, because that's not your focus whatsoever. So there's a lot of anxiety because I just think you have a lot of people that are depending on you. They have their own agenda kind of for you, and what they want you to do for them. You're very much a caregiver energy you're throwing right now. I'm not just talking to your kids. I'm talking about there's outside people outside of children or even husband. Again, we see the intuition. You read ours. So this person sitting is facing me. So on the left side, we see your intuition. So again, a very loving person with the sitting on the pink, a very intuitive person. I do think you're under a lot of stress. I'm a little concerned, the level of stress. Literally, to me, there's like a medium level of a medium world resting on your shoulders. Like, really, you've got a lot of crap on you, a lot of stuff you're trying to figure out, a lot of things you're trying to plan for the future. You just have a lot of things sitting on your shoulders. And again, we see you kind of fragmented. In a way, I'm going to say something. In a way, you're more expanded. And I actually think, even though it's not showing in your aura, I think you might know mentally like more of who you are, or have more of a memory than Jared of who he is.
Oh,
So
that's for sure.
it might be being a woman, or I'm not sure what it is, but I think if you even took some time or went away for a weekend, I think you'd be shocked if you really got in the right space with the right people of what would come in. Because, and I haven't looked deeply, I mean, your scan showed me other things. I haven't looked super deeply at you, but as far as I'm concerned, you are like, this is going to sound kind of weird. You are a mother, but you are a mother. Like, you've always been like a leader, mother, nurture, protector. Kind of like, I look at you more like kind of a Mother Earth energy. And you just have, even in all your spin, you have a really beautiful, loving, calm center. You do keep a piece for yourself. You do, but not enough. And you really, you haven't had a lot of time. It looks like a certain age. I'm not sure what that age was, but you had a certain age, and then you just kind of didn't have time for self after that point.
Yeah, the picture I sent you.
However, it's interesting because you just have this beautiful, beautiful connection. So, if you're not, I would call in my fire self a lot, because I honestly think you could journal like just pure wisdom from you, from connecting outside with the yous, because all time is now, so the yous in the future. And I think you could really bring in that kind of Gaia wisdom part of you, and just, it would really benefit you. A lot of the answers you struggle with, because you really always want to make sure you make the right decision, and you like to do things really well, and you like to do things really well for everyone, not just for yourself. You already know the answer, and I'm going to encourage you to stop the doubting and trust what you know, because you have your biggest gift is knowing. You have such, you do, you always do, you always have since you were little. You actually know the right thing. You do. Always.
That's crazy, because that is exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
And there was a time in my life where I split from the me I had known to the me that I was forced to become, and it was a definite split.
That's what I see, though. I see that.
And it was literally 7 days after that picture that you received. That picture was taken on my 40th birthday.
Okay, wow.
And 7 days later, they found my son's body.
What?
And he had been killed and left out in the desert. And
What?
to not fall down.
Oh my God.
that
I'm
rabbit
so,
hole, but that was
oh, you're even more impressive than I thought. Oh my gosh, you guys are like the Wonder Twins. Oh my
yeah.
No,
gosh, that's
she's impressive.
crazy.
So that split happened
Okay,
over the
okay.
course of those 7 days, where I really had to like dig deep. What is this all about?
Wow.
Because we're taught, again, the programming is be sad when somebody leaves this planet, when they transcend to whatever. Be sad. That's the programming. Everybody's sad. We're sad. We do sad things. We get together, do sad things. And to me,
So true. So true.
in that very moment, I mean, I remember looking across at my boys, his brothers, and saying, "Listen, we've got to find our way through this. Not, oh, woe is me, what." But it was this
Amazing.
it was
That's
this
amazing.
set of determination that I had to. I mean, like, okay, here we are. How do we get through this? Together. So I would say, yeah, I definitely had a split. I can
I
almost
want
tell
to
you the
say
exact second.
really quick to you, Betsy. So you're underestimating your being. Sorry, right? When I work, you're underestimating the potency of your being. So you think you have to do to be to meet the needs,
Sure.
but you're underestimating the gift of just being. Like literally, this is what I would do with you. I'd say come sit in my corner for like 2 days so I could be centered and get more done. Like you have this just amazing, it's so beautiful. You just have this expansive being that's just so beautiful. That is just such a gift. So don't always think that you have to do. Sometimes your gift of being is more than enough.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, because I do. I question every day before I go to bed. This is what keeps me up at night. Did I do enough? Was I involved enough with my grandkids? Was I present enough with my kids? Is the house clean enough? That feeling of scarcity.
Your sentence.
Yeah.
I want you to write it down.
Okay.
You're going to say this.
Okay.
When you get up, you're going to say it. And when you go to bed, you're going to say it.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're going to say, I am enough.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and we've been showing her picture on here, her aura picture you sent, and it looks like she has blue wings.
You look. Now the blue, it's moving out. But again, when you see that color blue in ours, it indicates the extent that you're plugging into 3D control.
Okay, 3D control. What is
But
that?
it's moving out. It's moving out because energy comes from left to the right. It's just what she's not very involved, but it's the part where she's engaged, dipping into the program in whatever way. We're all plugged into programs here. I mean,
Right.
every program, the medicine program, the law program, the marriage program, the food program, it could be because she's serving dinner 3 times. It could be, I mean, have you guys ever questioned that? This is the stuff I thought about when I was 2. Why do we eat? I'd ask my mom, why do we eat 3, meals a day? She couldn't tell me because we do. But everything is like, so like, the food industry, we have to feed the food industry. That's actually why we eat 3 meals a day.
yeah. Because I mean, ideally, it would be healthier if we didn't.
Okay. She needs like this, like, you need to have another show. Like, it needs to be about your wisdom because you're like so wise, Betsy. You're just like,
Oh,
wise.
thank you.
Exactly.
So that's
right.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and she had a gold and a green kind of halo on top, and there was orange in there.
Yeah, she's something. She's a little something.
Yeah,
And
She's a
I
lot.
would say that chaos that you see in that aura, I feel that. I'm coming from all places all the time.
You do, but it is cool. Deep down, you do have that beautiful core, and you hold that. And I would encourage you to expand that out so that even in the chaos, you're like, the stillness in the storm type of thing.
Yeah, boy, I need to work on that for sure.
Yes, you do.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, there's a lot of subjects. The aura, I still don't think I'm an old soul. I think I'm a fresh go around. I might have been a Neanderthal in the past, then a cockroach, maybe a bumblebee, cockroach again, and then this my first go around as a person.
Clearly not.
That's I'm just spitballing here, but
You're humble. That's part of your archetype. I mean, that's part of who you are. People think magicians and magic people are like flashy because that's what we're programmed. They're not. Usually it's the secret, quiet, humble, chill ones. Those are the magicians in this reality.
Yeah.
It's the, yeah.
It's
I could introduce you to so many magical people and you'd be like, wow, he's magical, or she's magical. They're the quiet ones. Dark horse.
So talk to us about possession.
yeah.
Because oftentimes, again, the programming is it's always demonic, it's always this, it's always that. But what is possession?
Let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a great story illustrating a form of possession. My daughter calls me up and she's like, can you look at John? She means, look, psychic look, which is her husband. She's like, can you look at John? He's acting really weird. I'm like, well, how's he acting? And she's like, well, for like 4 days, he's been drinking his cup. I have a bottle here, so I'll illustrate. He's been drinking his drinks like this.
Oh.
See my hands?
Yeah, like very deliberate, unnaturally.
Very, like 2 hands. And I'm like, okay, we'll deal with that in a minute. What else is he doing? She's like, he's staying up till 3 a.m. He won't go to bed, but it's different. And you'll laugh when you hear it. He's doing laundry. He's reorganizing the clothes. He's ironing. He's folding. I don't even know what's going on. So I went and looked at him and I'm like, well, I'll tell you what's going on. He picked up a human discarnate spirit that's inside him of a 4-year-old child and a 40-year-old woman.
Oh.
And that's why he was drinking like this, because the 4-year-old child drinks, drinking. And so we had a fun time. The little boy left pretty quickly. I had to peel the woman out of him, and we had to actually send her somewhere to someone I don't like very much that I knew. She liked it there. She's like, I'm having so much fun organizing. Like, she was hard to, and he's real sloppy. So there's some people, he has what we call a smoldering spirit. So we're also taught you can't lose your soul. I wish. That'd be great. Most of us, nobody here has their whole soul. I'll tell you that first of all. But some people have more parts or pieces than others. But he has what's called a smoldering soul. So his fire creation spirit is on its way out. He needs to stoke it like a campfire. It's smoldering down. He needs to get going, but that's his issue. I'm sure he loves me sharing this with however many people. But but it leaves him vulnerable. So think of what we do when we go camp in the woods. What do? We build a big fire, set the Sasquatch, haha, wink, wink, don't come around. So, sorry, my dog's
The dog. That's the next question I got is, okay, got lots of questions.
Talking about. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me finish this story really quick. So my dog's not bark. So, okay, be quiet. So, anyway, so we build this big fire. So things don't come around. Like, things are going to come around. If you're like in your power and you're like, zap, like, see you, leave, bind, leave,
right.
Evaporate, if you're on it and you're living in your fullness, you're not going to have the vulnerability. You're going to see it coming in before it gets to you. But he doesn't. He's just like, here I am. I don't know if I want to be here. I'm just floating around. So beings see that. They see the opportunity, these human discarnates, to step in. They don't have a body. They're like, oh, there's a body that's really dark. We're going to step in. There's opportunity. There's space. He's not protecting himself. So these two beings stepped in, and that's a form of possession. I mean, I call that just as much possession as a demonic spirit or high-level dark being,
Okay. How do you stoke us? Okay. Do we go back further for my initial question? So you say don't go into the light. What happens when you don't go into the light? Because you go into the light and you get reset by whatever's reset.
It's broken. Okay, so the moon soul trap is broken, but it doesn't mean that there's not groups that are using our memory of being so many times in that they're still taking people and kidnapping. So I teach my students, first of all, here's a misnomer. We think when we die, we become a different person. We think, well, you might get your full memory back. You don't always. That's a whole nother subject. But you don't become a different person. If I pass in the next 5 minutes, my brain is going to be the same then, other than 5 minutes later, as it is now. I will have the same memories. I will know where I lived. I'll know my children. We aren't taught that. We think something happens and we change. You don't change. So what you get to do is you get to decide. You're a free will being now, even though you're in prison, you get to decide how you handle it. And there are ways of getting out, which is what we call OBE, out of body, remote viewing, things like that. So you can get out of here. Your body might stay here, but your spirit can escape here. So when you die, you get to create, you get to choose. Now, if you aren't taught that, you just think you go to heaven or hell, blah, 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 or wherever else your religion tells you you go, and that's where they can pick you up or deceive you. But you plan ahead, you create where you're going. If you don't know what you want to do, or maybe you'll get your full memory back and you would choose something different, you create a world. How do fire creation beings bring things into physical 3D touch reality with your imagination? What you think becomes reality if you vibrate high enough. Most, they don't let us vibrate high enough because they're filling us with junk food. They're filling us with human meat. They're filling us with nanotech. They're filling us with cough medicine. They're filling us with candle scents. They're filling it, you guys know, with metals in our water. You know, they're making sure we can't figure out what I'm telling you. We can't create, but you still can create a safe haven. So let's say you love sailboating. And you say, I don't know where I want to go when I die, or who I want to be with, or what I want to do, or what planet I want to go to. Remember, it's a video game. You get to do whatever you want. You can create whatever you want. You can create a planet. You can be a planet. You can create planets. You two have created many realms, have been in many realms. There's soul aspects of yourself right now that are living other places and other timelines, you know, actively. And sometimes that affects you, as well as there's clones of both of you. Sometimes that affects you mentally, physically, and emotionally, which we could talk about. We could actually do scans of you and figure out how, and break down that programming and remove that. But what you do is now, if you love sailboating, let's say you just imagine a sailboat. You create a sailboat. You cut out pictures of the sailboat. You cement it in your mind. You decide, I'm going to sail in the Caribbean. I'm going to sail, or similar. You create your own ocean and you go there. How do you go there? You think it. When you pass, you're standing in your house. You're standing in the funeral home. You're standing in the void with a light tunnel, and you just think sailboat instantly. You're on your sailboat. You buy yourself time. From there, you can figure it out. You can set up meetings with loved ones that have passed and said, I'm going to spend a day on the sailboat. And then I'm going to invite, you know, Grandma Jones to come and whatever. It's so we control the multiverse. They think and have taught us that we are small and we have to exist in their world they've created. We have to create our own realities. And you do in what I call micro ways. Even though you're married and you have kids and you're doing your thing, you still create your own micro world. You could choose a new house, Betsy. You can move to a different state. Your husband could get a different job. You could get married, or, you know, whatever. You can, we do create our own micro worlds. We just don't look at it like that.
It's the perfect scam.
It is the most,
it's the perfect prison.
Genius. They are genius, and it's layer upon layer of genius. It's not even just genius, it's like masterful.
Yeah.
Genius.
So okay, how did those disconnected souls, the 4-year-old and the 40-year-old, how did they get disconnected? How did they end up floating around?
Okay, so how I said they chose, you know, you can choose. They chose not to leave. So
they chose not to leave to go to their happy place or into the light.
This is actually, I'll call this the inverse mirrored upside down reality. You know, they call it the upside down in, what's that show on, you know,
Stranger Things.
About. Yes, thank you. They call it upside down, which is funny. I'm like, oh, that's right. That's accurate. But yeah, so they just chose to stay in this holodeck. I don't know why. They might not know where to go. I mean, it is true. Some of those movies and shows, we think there's aspects. They always give us little truth nuggets. They're so small. But it is absolutely true that you can get stuck here if you don't know where to go. If you know, maybe nobody wants those people. Maybe they're like, well, they're not value to me. Let them wander around. You know, they don't grab everybody. You guys are what we call high value assets in the multiverse, not the universe, the multiverse. All time, all space, all realities, all non-time, all non-space. They know who you guys are. They know who I am. But everybody's not like that. You know, some people are younger. Some people have only been around, like you said, one time. Like, you know, they'll let them wander around forever, and they find, like those shows. Have you guys ever watched those shows where they have like a werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost? They illustrate some of this stuff really well. What is it? I forget what that show is called. It was English, and then they made an American version.
I remember the American one sucked, but the English one was good.
I agree with you. but they illustrate the ghost part of that really well, where she's like reliving her husband and, you know, murder until she figured it out. And she's looking for her door. There is aspects of that. They're not forced to stay here unless they're captured, but you're never you would leave and then come back. You're not like recaptured because you're hanging around. You have to go out of a holodeck and then they bring you back in. But these spirits were just, there's a lot of spirits wandering around still. And I didn't send them. I can't send them or make them go out of our world. I can send them to another location within our time and world. I can make them leave him. I can't choose for them. I can't be like, oh, hey, 4-year-old, let's choose a little like beach sandbox scene. Like, I can't do that for him. You know, he has to choose that. He has to choose as a soul to decide what body, what skin, what avatar. It's a game.
And then how do you stoke your soul? How do you reignite it? What do you?
And do souls eventually have like are they finite?
Is there an expiration date for that?
It depends what race you are. There's different types of souls. When I say soul, and of course, and we get this fire creation spirit in them. Fire creation spirits are unique beings. So there could be the fae can have fire creation spirits, but some of the fae might not have a fire creation spirit. So we get really, really tricky here. You know, even like beings like Sasquatch or dogmen or a lot of the reptilians, they don't have the ability to create out of nothing. That's why these groups are so interested, and that's why they're here. And that's why they use ignorant, brainwashed people like you and I to do their bidding, even if we don't know we're doing their bidding. You know, they steal ideas from us. They have people working in their organizations that are fire creation spirits.
You can just come out and say the queen. It's okay. We've talked about it.
Actually, I was kind of thinking of that, but anyway.
I mean, we're okay with it.
It's a tricky subject, souls, because it's nothing like what we've been taught. And soul's a sloppy word. When I, you know, like I said, when I say soul, but for example, I'm not fully human, and you are not fully human, and you are not fully human. I am legitimately in my spirit. See, so there's spirit, mankind, human, and then there's, you know, we can have this avatar, and you guys know this, a Draco can be in here, and there's no human spirit. There's no fire creation. There's nothing, you know, there's just Draco. So
if you've got a Draco in you, do you know?
Maybe if you're enlightened enough.
I don't think so, because I have pictures of, I'm not allowed to say because I'm in legal situation with them, but people that I used to live around, and I have pictures of Draco superimposed over them. And I don't think they would say I have a Draco in me. They would say you're crazy to me, but you know, I have pictures of it. So
like when Justin Bieber blinks sideways, he may not know that he's got that in him, but it's in him. It
depends if it's the original Justin Bieber, who I don't know if he's alive or dead. The fire creation spirit, if there ever was one, he's probably a temp. When I'm looking at him right now, to me, he looks like a template of an old fire creation spirit. He's just a body, so anything can go into him. He's not, there's nothing in him. He's just all infinity programming, templating, spit over and over.
So he's the woman in the red dress.
Sorry.
So when you look at us and you say that we're not all mankind, what else are we?
I'm not, well, I'll tell you one of the things you are. I'm not allowed to tell him. I'm not allowed to tell people because there is a activation. When you remember, you activate and turn on DNA, and I can't just lay it on. I can tell. I mean, well, number one, and you won't believe it. If you remember it or you resonate with it, you are going to embody it. If I lay it on you like clothes, you're going to take it off, and you're going to be like, I don't know, am I not? But if you remember it, you're going to embody it in your bone, in your marrow, and it's going to change your life. So we do have groups where I promise them at the end of 6 months, if you've been with me for about, 75 hours and you don't remember who you are, I will tell you, but that's I've given them every opportunity. But I will tell you, you have a lot of fae in you, Betsy.
I could see that.
A lot of fae. Do I have a purple octopus in me?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, because I'm drawn to this purple octopus picture that I picked up, and Betsy hates it, but it's
a whole thing.
It's
That's
right
for
here.
another reason. That has to do with your magician part of you.
This guy
That's
right
not-
here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's because I'm going to be quiet or I'll get in trouble.
Okay, so demons.
Okay.
Because that, again, is there demonic forces, or are they just misled dark spirits?
Oh gosh, I wish they were just misled dark spirits. That'd be easy. Unfortunately, there are ancient as we are.
I don't like that. That brings with it lots and
that
lots
have
of wisdom.
chosen darkness repeatedly to that they embody. They can change their mind. I mean, Lucifer signed many contracts of light. I mean, he changed his mind. He's gone now, but I mean,
He's gone now. Where did he go?
he was completely reset. So he
So
went
he-
to the pit. The pit is not hell. The pit is a complete reset. The worst thing that can happen is not to burn forever in hell. The worst thing that can happen is that your billions of years of being can be wiped out to absolutely zero, and you have to start again.
So he
Mm-mm.
so he
He thought
might be
he
wandering
was-
around all fresh and clean.
Yeah, but you would never, because it's basically reset like to this pen. Like basically, I mean, he's not a pen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's allowed. Actually, I love this system, and I don't have all the answers, you guys. And maybe if I do, I don't remember them. I don't know who started this whole thing, but I think it's a fair, just, beautiful system. Even the most evil are given so many opportunities to. The religious people would use the word repent. I wouldn't. I would say to choose something higher, to choose something sweeter, to choose something kinder. But he didn't, and he took it too far with too many civilizations, not just our Earth, and he committed too many, as you can imagine, too many violations against the one law. What is the one law? The one multiverse law in all planets, all realms, all timelines is do not deliberately harm. It's not just people or animals, sentient life. A tree is sentient life. So
I think-
he violated,
I think the fact that demons become that, or what, I mean, that's just a word we've given them, but they become that because they choose it over and over. That is scarier than
Oh, you
if they
think?
were assigned that. Yeah, because it's deliberate.
and that's why they're harder. And that's why the higher level dark forest beings are so hard to deal with, because I mean, I was engaged to a man who had two demons, ancient demons, best relationship I ever had, because we're lied to. Because demons called to the ancient part of my soul and awakened memory, because the conversations I had with these beings within him, using the avatar of him, I couldn't even put them into words. I always say you've never had good sex. Sorry, kids. Cover your kids' ears. I always say you've never had good sex till you've had sex with a man possessed with a demon. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah.
No.
I don't mean that. I mean in a bad way. I mean just the experience alone is just incredible. And they have soul memory. So they're different from us. We don't have soul memory.
So this your ex-fiance, did he have like some interesting like memories and thoughts because they were in him? And
I don't know if you guys know the Order of the Golden Dawn. He's on top level of the Order of the Golden Dawn. He's from a double bloodline family. So am I, which is why, of course, we were brought together in this lifetime. I thought, Betsy, I think you can be like this too. I thought my light, this is so stupid. It sounds like every romance movie and romance novel ever written. I
So-
thought I could redeem him, but guess what? He
do
thought,
I need to flash Fabio across the screen real quick?
oh, sure, please.
You thought you could tame him?
His shirt
I thought I
peeled
could tame him,
open.
and he thought he could bring me to the dark side, and that was my final chance. They told me in this lifetime to, in an elite way, join the dark side. They invited me into the Rosicrucians. If you know who the Rosicrucians are, of course they're going to invite me because it's all about technology, and I work with technology. So yeah, and I said no, and the relationship went downhill after that when we both started realizing it was all great, really, when we were both trying, but when we both realized we were failing, it got really bad. And when we broke up, I broke up with him. He sent his two demons to me, and in front of my children, these demons in half manifested form they grabbed me by the shoulders, and I had burns from where they grabbed me, and my children saw the burns
Oh,
up here on my
how
skin.
bad did that?
They did it. He said, "I'm right."
How bad did that scare the children? How old were the children at the time? How old were your kids?
Oh, my kids all have. No, this is my. It did it. This is my kids were up and with me, so they all have wicked psychic abilities of their own. My daughter was 12 and she was doing demonic house clearance with me, so they grew up like. I'm not saying they weren't. They were like upset their mom was hurt, but it was pretty normal. I know that sounds weird, but it was normal to them that this could happen. Like it wasn't, and I homeschooled my kids most of their life as well. So it wasn't outside their reality. I took them to work. I introduced them to the supernatural and the dimensional worlds. You know, they go on Bigfoot hunts with me. They clear houses. They've been to many paranormal events. They've been to, you know, all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so before we leave this subject, talk about house clearing.
Yeah.
And what are you clearing it of? Is it, you know?
That's a really great question. That's a mist, of course. That's a kind of tainted, dark, weird, creepy thing. Well, I'll give you an example. I'm selling a house right now, and we're running that house. I have one of my practitioners is running my house every day on the app. And what is she doing? She's clearing it of the handyman's energy that's been there, who's a crazy kid, for the last 6 days. You know, he's been there and his energy is there and he's leaving it. So we're keeping it clean. We're clearing it of my energy. We're cutting cords and ties because your houses actually have like a thought form or like a servitor. We call them servitors. So you can create this. This is getting really like magical. You should really start remembering stuff. You can create servitors, which is really handy. And the house has like its own servitor energy. So it has its own personality. So you could have 3 different houses you live in your whole life. They'll each have its own personality. And it literally has a frequency signature just like a person does. So Jared has a number, you know, it might be 764.1, and Betsy, you have 32.3, and your house would have a different frequency number, and it's only for that house. There is no other house in this whole realm that has that frequency. So it's its own being with its own opinion. We have programming we've written that tells us what the house wants. You know, does it want more light? Does it want new furniture? It can get really crazy beyond feng shui. You know, you hear like, put a money tree here, hang a red envelope here, you know. It's way more complicated with that, because here's what makes me different, how I work in all fields differently than other people. It's individual. So I don't have a house clearing scheme. We come in your house, take an hour picture. We ask the house what's going on. We have special programs and we say, okay, here's what's going on. Are there entities and energies? Yes. A lot of times there's portals and a lot of these energies are going through. So we focus on closing or opening light portals, dark portals. Oh, there's something in my words. Neutral portals. You know, we kind of get it at the root. We don't just like clear it and then things can wander back in. We shut off why are you having, you know, darkness, or, you know, we raise the frequency of the house. We help with money flow. We help with relationships. We help with parent-child relationships. We make the house happy. We make the land happy, and it makes the people happy.
So I like that, because oftentimes we're reminded that, you know, you'll get a certain feeling about a place when you walk into it. It's likely that we're just feeling that house's very own unique energy. Just like
you have a new mailman, you would get a feeling, you know, I like him, I don't like him, he's dark, he's light, he's happy, he's sad. Same thing with the house. Exactly. You walk in a house, and a lot of times if you really talk to even what I call 3D people, even if they're clones or players or sims, they even choose houses. You know, they'll be like, I thought I really wanted a deck, but I walked into this one house and it just felt like I had this connection. Like, you'll hear them say that without knowing what they're saying. People don't usually choose houses on their checklist. They're gonna, you know, the one they resonate with, the one that they feel like they can be in relationship with. My house tricked me, though. My old house. We won't go into that.
I get that 100%.
It is a portal upstairs that cannot be closed. Yeah, but anyway, that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
But so house cleaning for us, when I first started, you guys, though, it was what your understanding would be, or what your audience is understanding. You know, there's a demon, there's a human, just kind of, let's just clear them all out. You know, bring in some good energy, turn up the light, the frequency of the house, and be out of there. But now it's so much. Now we do so much
more than that. It's
you know, what do you want? You know,
you reset the house to a blank page. So
Yeah, we can.
so
But that really doesn't serve the house or the occupant.
well,
I
I mean,
mean,
like if you're selling a house, I mean,
I mean,
There you go.
ideally, you find out what the house wants because it's its own
Right.
unique energy, and then you determine if the occupant can cohesively habitate that house given its energy. And
That's
I
right.
get that. Having moved so many times, I had houses that my energy was completely dampened inside, that it just felt closed in and claustrophobic, and it didn't matter how the layout was, and it didn't matter how open it was or how many windows were open. You just felt closed in. I kind of feel like you feel like that in this house, only because you say it all the time.
Oh, that's interesting.
well, yeah, I think it's just
I think
that
the energy of
I've
this
collected
house
too much clutter too.
I think the energy of this
yeah,
house.
there you go. You want to talk about, I need to tell you something really quick if you have a lot of clutter. So here's what I just taught on in my monthly class last month. I said we had a big thing and we dived pretty deep into that. Everything matters. So I used to live with teenagers. They used to steal everything. So I have like 12 pairs of scissors, and people are like, oh, well, you use scissors, you keep them. No, each of that 12 pairs of scissors has a frequency. Everything that has a frequency in your home takes energy from you.
Oh,
So even though
goodness.
these distant 12 pairs of scissors, they're not possessed, they're not dark, they're not negative. We're not going there. But being in my space that I interact with, there is an energy. You know why? Because you're sending out these signals and they're sending out signals, because even the things that don't look living are still made up of atoms and molecules, and they still have frequency. Not all of them are sentient, but they still have energy and frequency. So we need to be much, much, much more deliberate. I would say minimalist mom. Have you ever heard of her? You would love her. She's a little yattery thing, but she helps people like simplify their house. And have you ever walked into someone's house where it just feels expansive? It feels like you can breathe.
Yeah.
It feels like you can fall into yourself. It feels like you can think
Yeah.
and space. So we don't allow, and of course the consumerism, work and consume, work and consume, work and consume. But everything has an energy cost, even if it's not negative. But then it goes deeper. So we have things like, I was just texting with one of my clients this morning. He said, do I really have to get rid of, he had a demon possessed ex-fiance and really horrible, number of years with her. And I said, have you gone through your clothes that she bought you?
But it
Have you
sounds like that number of years might have been happy nighttime years.
no comment. Yes.
I mean, if you've got to make a sacrifice
No, I know
somewhere.
yes, you're right. But he didn't want it. He's like, but those are really high quality sweatshirts. I'm like, are they really worth? Well, number one, how do you wear 7 sweatshirts at once? We all have too many clothes and too much stuff.
Yes.
We're always keeping things that are too small. I am. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to gain weight. Oh, this is nice. Oh, I've never worn this. Why do I have things for 7 years that I've never worn? So this makes a lot of sense, you guys. This is programming. So I keep them because I've never worn them.
Right. Because it feels wasteful.
Yes, exactly. So all that stuff has an energy cost. Clothes, pens, papers, every single paper, some of these companies, I'm looking at a Crystal Springs water bill. I don't personally know the history of that company. It doesn't feel very clean to me, actually, as I'm talking about it. So these companies have their logos that they pay a lot of money to design that are what? What are logos? Logos are
Programming,
hexes, sigils.
Oh yeah, you see so much of that. So much of that.
So, bring things in. Like I have these beautiful Bigfoot pictures that this woman who actually sees them has drawn and said, these are the Bigfoot on your property. I'll keep that till the day I die. That has meaning. That has resonance. That has value to me. That's going to be putting out positive connections. Those beings know that they're on a picture in my house. I'll keep something like that. But I need to go through my scissors and my pens and my bills and stuff like candles. Who says you have to have candles? If you love candles, plaster your house with candles. But we get all this stuff and we keep it. And
it just collects a film of dust on top.
I'm a guy. I don't think I have any candles at all. But I do collect something else. And there's something that I collect. And it's an expensive hobby. And it's not a weird hobby where I'm at, and probably not where you're at either, but
it doesn't start with a G.
Yes.
Are those bad to collect?
You're talking, okay, so you're asking the wrong person. I'll tell you why. Because I am I'm a warrior. So I'm of course going to say no. So you can't ask me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he would.
I think that is, I know. Okay. So again, remember, this is less like a movie, more like a video game. There are places that we go that there are aspects of you, all of us, where we just shoot people and they come back to life. Like we think it's bad, and I'm not saying violence is good, but in other worlds, it's not bad. It just happens.
So there's other worlds where
I don't think those are bad. I also think there's nothing bad yourself or be able to hunt even if you needed to. I just think there's nothing bad about those. I think it's all good, but that's my opinion. Some people would say get rid of them for feng shui. It's violence. You do need to be careful kind of where you put them. I mean, you don't really want to pile a collection of that in your love corner necessarily, or
right next to the velvet pillow.
or under your bed. Some people keep those things under the bed. That's just not a real good mix, really.
Well, no, they're in a different room than where I sleep. Well, some of them, most of them are in a different room.
But I'm the wrong person. Another more enlightened, and that's the whole thing. The love and light BS, I just can't stomach it. I can't stomach. It's just so far from the truth. It's another program. There's a consciousness program. And to be spiritual, you can't swear. I swear quite a bit. I think I'm pretty damn spiritual. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, if they said you can't swear, I'd be in trouble.
All right. So to close up the show, we've got to have another show with you. And why do you live so far away?
Where do you guys live?
Utah.
Oh, I've been doing a lot of Utah shows lately. It's really pretty out there. Is it pretty where you guys are?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
A ton of Sasquatch out there. You got a ton of creatures out there.
That's what I wanted. We've got to do another show because there's so much.
And we've got some questions rolled in. We're going to have to close out with also.
Oh, we can't do them?
Oh, no, we'll close out. We'll close out with the questions, but
I want to talk about Bigfoot.
Yeah, let's talk about Sasquatch, or as we say, my people that evolved just a little bit further from humans.
May not be entirely wrong. Actually, in every human on this planet, there is Sasquatch DNA. That is a fact. I have seen the reports. I've seen the chains. That is a fact. It's not a sample. All the group theys that control us, they know it too.
Mm-hmm.
They know it. They were too, how they ended up with us, because they were too, they tried to kill off most of them and they didn't succeed. They were too, I don't want to say too violent. They were too strong. They were killing the controllers.
Oh, really?
And they tried to wipe out the Sasquatch population, but they didn't. They still use them in the military under heavily chipped, cyborg type programming, which is why you'll know if you have a military Sasquatch, because the cops won't come, the sheriff won't come, the military will come, and they'll be like, no funny business. Yeah,
that's
the military comes, is one of theirs.
That's one of their escapees
from the tunnels. Yeah,
from the tunnel. Okay, there's got to be another show with talk about the tunnels.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You're writing, but it's like writing new topics.
Yes.
Yeah, we love the Sasquatch stuff. I
do too. I moved out here on my little 4 acres, and I love it because they're interesting. They're real interesting. They left me a beautiful. It's in the garage. They left me a beautiful, huge quartz piece, sitting placed in a tree that I walk by every day. They're real sweet.
Down there, don't they call it the skunk ape?
That's another thing I have. All these titles, there's all this, and you guys know this, there's so much debate. I just honor each person's experience. So if, someone comes to me and say, I have skunk apes, I'm like, you have skunk apes. And that's your relationship. If they say they do this and they do that, I don't argue and say, no, they don't, because that's their experience. Well,
yeah, I think that's just the different name.
It's a relationship.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right. Now, I've come across people and spoken at conferences that are kind of, and I don't know your guys' views, so I hope I'm not insulting you, but kind of like, let's go hunting for Sasquatch. People, I will take you to any Walmart in the entire country and show you a Sasquatch.
I work with
not
a few.
in Walmart. It might be in Walmart, but I'll show you outside of Walmart. They like to hang out at Walmart because they usually have that, because they're near the bases and they have water and trees usually around there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, I've gone downtown Winston-Salem to the fast food restaurants, and they're by the dumpsters. Fancy that, of course. They're not stupid. Free food.
So they're around more visibly than even we notice.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why, because all the dimensions are stacked on each other, and I don't know how many dimensions are. There could be 700, there could be 7 billion, there could be infinite, but they're all stacked on the head of a pin.
So are the Squatches, are they moving between dimensions?
There's different kinds. The ones that the military's built, as a cyborg flesh creature, no. They could if they go through jump gates, but the ones that are from other planets, or there's different types. In the Vedas, the Indian history books, they talk about like 7,000 different kinds of interdimensionals, and we just call, and I do it too. So there's these little fuzzy guys that we have a ton of in North Carolina. They're like this big. I could show you them all day long in pictures. I could show you hundreds of thousands of pictures I have of these little guys. People are like, oh, baby Sasquatch. Those are not baby Sasquatch. They're their own thing. I don't know what they are. I don't have a name. I guess I could name them, but maybe I'm sure, maybe I should ask them, but they're not baby Sasquatch. There are baby Sasquatch. I have pictures of Sasquatch holding their babies out to show me. I'm not saying there aren't baby Sasquatch, but we call everything the same thing. We call everything Dogman. We call everything Sasquatch. I have got to find this, and I posted it in a group. I have a picture of a white Alice in Wonderland rabbit that walks on 2 feet wearing a blue jacket. I mean, there's stuff that would blow your mind out there that's in the flesh and blood. We just don't go places. It's not necessarily going to be walking down your subdivision road, or maybe it is. My daughter took the trash out once, and on the security camera, we got a bean half cloaked running from the woods past her, and she flips the frick out and runs inside and says, a bean just ran past me. I pulled up the security camera. I said, you're right, a bean just ran past you, because that infrared catches it really nice. You guys know that.
How cute would a baby Sasquatch be?
It's pretty darn cute. It's adorable.
Big
Their little
eyes.
legs, like babies. If you hold your baby up for a picture, how their little feet dangle down. It's the same thing. It's the moms.
They
When
kind
you
of
have
lift their knees
relationship,
a little
they
bit.
bring their babies. It's the highest honor as a mom to have a mom Sasquatch show you, look at my baby, like you would. Look at my baby. It's adorable. Relationship. That's how you see more beings. You form relationships. And guess what? The Sasquatch talk to the Dogman. The Dogman talk to the Fae. The Fae talk to all the groups. And they say, this woman has an open heart. This woman is kind. This woman leaves us balls for our children. This woman leaves us pretty bright, scarves. This woman leaves us marbles. This woman leaves us apples. I mean, that gets around. And then you get more creatures.
Yeah, by being a good-natured woman, you've made friends with them. That's good.
And they know. And they would have a real affinity. You're interesting. They're always a little skittish of warrior types, but you would have easy. Like I wouldn't be surprised if, and you can photograph them all day long. I'll tell you guys, if you want, you're in your audience, I'm going to give you my #1 secret exercise for spotting interdimensionals that anyone can do all over the world. Here's my favorite thing. This is still my favorite thing to do. Go on your realty listings, redfin.com or Zillow. Start looking at houses in the country that have an acre or more. Like put in an acre or more. You'll see tons of creatures. You'll see portals. You'll see easiest place to spot Sasquatch. I'm always saying, why did they take a picture of that land? And there was like a huge full body Sasquatch standing right there. Like we don't see because we don't look. And this is stuff you can see with physical eyes. I'm not even talking about the hard to see stuff or the trickier to see stuff.
So while people are paying attention to the house, something kind of sneaks in under the radar. And if you're paying attention and open to it, you'll see it.
But if you're deliberately looking at real estate ads for, like I do, because I'm strange, for interdimensionals, I just noticed a long time ago when I looked at land for 3 years before I bought this land, I started noticing how they just keep taking pictures of these obvious, out of the open interdimensionals because they don't see.
Yeah.
So interdimensionals, is it intentional? Do they intentionally jump dimensions, or is it a slip?
Ooh.
I think it depends on their individual, just like you, did you intentionally drive to your grandma's house or did you accidentally stop because you were driving by? Kind of the same thing. I think they have their own motivations. Definitely, I think Some of them live in other places and they come here for whatever reason to interact or help. A lot of the Sasquatch this is just a whole nother rabbit trail, I'm warning you, but I'm going to drop it in. For the MK Ultra yellow tagged people that they, been under mind control, which you too are, but and have been in like the Montauk programs. A lot of the higher older beings have been to Langley. They've used our abilities in different projects. Some are in the secret space program. So the Sasquatch historically have protected, especially when we were children. They came in and they really were friends. You hear about these friends that children have, that they're really healing a lot of the trauma from the children that are taken at night and the adults that are taken at night and used in these programs. So the interdimensionals, have a bigger memory and they have bigger healing abilities than we have access. Not that we couldn't, but we don't have access to. So a lot of times, in positive fire creation spirits, they come in and assist. The Fae too, a lot of the Fae will come in and assist as well.
Okay, so I saw there was a little slip in there, the MK programs like that we're a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have
You mean just like on a broad scale?
Yeah, I
mean on a specific scale with you too.
So a specific scale with the two of us.
Yes.
Okay, I thought I caught that.
yeah. Yeah, we caught that.
Why am I not surprised?
I would have been a part of Artichoke, I think.
I'm sneaky like that. You're so funny.
Yeah, we've covered the MK Ultra, and we are planning on doing a show of the Unabomber, who I think he's the ultimate expression of MK Ultra.
I'm sure.
But anyways, let's run through these questions real quick.
Let's go.
All right. So James, a lot of people, like James, says hello, but
Hi.
maybe what we think is nothing is something. Yeah. And then what do you think of alien encounters?
Are they just multidimensional?
Ooh.
There's so many groups here that have been given access here. Okay, so in every Hilton hotel, every Marriott hotel, there's a floor devoted to jump gates, jump rooms.
Okay, wait.
13th floor?
No. Oh. It's different floors in different hotels, and the underground tram runs under it. So, I mean, a lot of these alien groups have access. Again, we could go down the whole impregnation thing, and all that. It just gets really, really, really crazy and messy. But yeah, so are they legitimate? Absolutely. My daughter went to school in Gunnison. Gunnison's famous for all their UFO cattle mutilations and all of that. A lot of that happens near bases. It's just easy access. They're lazy. They come out of the bases, they grab stuff, they do stuff, and they leave. But
saves fuel. I mean, we could really be thinking that.
I have pictures of 3 jump gates out in I think it's an ocean by Iran, and they've had a fleet of ships guarding it forever. They thought it was a really good idea to open up these ancient jump gates, and they didn't like what came through. That's what they did to our road. So they've been burying them with sand. I think they're almost done. I have pictures of that. And they have a ship of Navy, whatever ships guarding them. So there's a lot that goes on that we don't know. But aliens have been visiting our planet forever,
Are we aliens
groups,
on other planets?
The Aquarians, the Palladians are not good. Everyone's like, Palladians are so good. No, they're not. I don't call any being that comes in and takes people from their bed and does experimentation on ships and impregnates people and takes your kids against your will. Well, not your kids, half your kids, whatever. I don't call that good groups.
Right.
The Aquarians,
I agree.
Great, all of them, not good.
Yeah.
Lots more.
Oh,
Mantoids are big here. That's a fun group. You guys ever heard ticking from your furniture?
Yes.
I did all the time when I was a kid.
Yes.
Oh.
I look for it all the time. I ask my kids, what's that coming from? Turn it off. I always think it's a broken toy, kind of tick, 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 tick.
Those are the mantoids. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna see what they're doing with you because you have a mantoid frequency. That's why I said that.
Betsy does?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not her. She's not mantoid. They're around her. The frequency's on her, so they're around her and her family.
I've got Moxie Pest Control. Shout out to my pest control. I'm gonna.
Well, there you go. You're hook her up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
anyway, aliens totally, yeah, huge. I'm going to make a prediction within the next years. It's all this stuff I'm going to be saying. I need to get all these shows in while I can, because people are going to be like, "Oh, well, that's old news. Everybody knows that."
Yeah, I
Like,
was going to ask
in
you,
the
what
Star Wars bar, you know? Go ahead.
what is this energy? Because I follow the Schumann resonance, and I do a lot of like energy kind of research. The energy right now that I think I'm feeling worldwide is crazy.
You're right.
Like they
So
opened up a Stargate that was not good.
Or like we jumped dimensions.
we jump timelines, so you're right.
Because
Which is a way-
that's what it feels like.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're absolutely correct. Well, the net is down, not the intranet is part of the AI computer, but the netting that they had up is down. And so the Alliance outside our planet groups have been beaming in high frequency to assist people like you guys that can receive them. You can use them for upgrades. So I don't know if you notice there's days where you're really like sharp and clear and you have a lot of energy and you almost like get fried out because you're like so focused or so like motivated. You almost do too much. It like can kind of burn you out. They're giving us that, I call them whiteouts or greenouts. So they're sending in outside frequency to assist us. I mean, the timeline's kind of a different issue, but we absolutely have changed. The old prophecies, some people call it the Bible, I call it a script, but Revelation's off the table, Tribulation's off the table. That was the elite script for how they wanted this timeline to end, but we jumped timelines. And now we're going more into, if you want to call it, if you want to make it religious, more like the 1,000-year peace. Everybody's like, horrible things, but actually in the next year, you're going to see amazing things. Replicator in every home, med beds, like all of that's going to come. It's going to be amazing.
I've been following the med beds.
That I would dig. All right, back to the comments.
Okay.
Because Laura says, again, nightmares come on. So we've scared Laura.
I'm sorry, Laura.
Oh, yeah, she'll be okay. She'll be okay. And then talking about the people meat.
Yeah.
She says, no more bacon, Jared. No, bacon is not people. Don't ruin that for me.
Do you know what bacon is, though?
Long pig?
No, bacon is half
on.
human, half wild boar.
Oh, come on. I was doing
That's
so
why
good.
they're so intelligent. You guys have heard that? That's why they're so whatever. They are literally genetically half human, half wild boar.
Oh,
They're hybrid.
Yeah.
I don't eat pork or bacon. I mean, we all eat. You guys know this, though. I mean, occasionally I'll drink Pepsi. I mean, we're drinking human. I mean, you guys know that.
Pepsi's got human in it?
Yeah, I thought, anywhere you see natural flavors, 100% of the time, not any off that percentage, it is human fluids or parts.
Oh, fluids. No.
What would be worse, eating a piece of human or drinking human fluids?
Fluids that.
It just brings a lot of different stuff.
But you know why they do that? They do that like so we're corrupt. Like they bring us into that frequency of corruption. We were talking about Lucifer,
Right.
like that darkness,
So
and it holds us down. How can you like raise your frequency when you're like drinking human Pepsi? Human. You're violating interdimensional law every time you drink Pepsi.
Yeah, that unknowingly become a part of the crime.
Exactly. And that they trick, everything here is like deception. Like it just sometimes makes me so crazier.
That is insane. Okay, Stephanie says she needs an aura reading. If someone wants to reach out to you, get an aura reading or any of that, do you offer those services?
Like if you want to say like for your listeners, I'd be happy to do like a 20-minute segment and I can do them on the fly, or you could send them to me ahead of time and say, you can do it as a prize or whatever on a different,
Oh yeah.
we'll take first 4, whatever, and I'll do it.
Maybe do another show and have it planned ahead, and people who want aura readings.
I'm just saying, I'm happy to read auras all day long, or part of the show, or for a special treat or a prize, whatever you guys want to do.
That would be fun. Yeah, we'll figure something like that out. We'll get with you afterwards, figure out how what would be the best way to run it, because this is all new to us, and then we'll get with Michelle and schedule the next show. Because this is awesome. James says it sounds like the simulation theory.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. A lot of the
the programming part.
guys, Seshi cams. Seshi cams are I know no one believes NASA, but it's the closest you're going to get to what our world looks like. Stephen King is one of the highest rated Satanists. He told you what it was under the dome. We have our Mockingbird, one of those shows. They told you what it was. They showed you how they control the weather. It's a fact. But I don't feel like I have to argue my point because this is a holodeck on a ship. The Seshi cams you can go to. When you get off here, go to the Seshi cams. You can see the pole. And you can see our ship on inside, which has a dome over it. And we are on that ship on a holodeck. This is all holodeck. It's they steal from the creation fire spirits. You guys can do the same thing. You can create realms and worlds as complex as this with people and all animals, all sorts of things and beings you've never heard of. That's how powerful you are. So they've just created a nice little holodeck that we're on.
And that's the Seshi cam. How do you spell that?
S-E. Hold on, I have to write it. Secchi, the Seshi cams.
Secchi. Everyone check that out. Yeah.
I usually leave them up. But yeah, so they show you the Earth on a pole, and they'll show you, and all the planets are ships too. So Mars is a ship. Why do we call them gods? Because the demon god drove that particular ship. All the planets are ships. Venus is a ship. They're all ships. We're all on poles in ships. But I don't feel like I have to, you know what? Time tells the whole tale. So I don't argue anymore. I just share. And if it resonates, great. If you have a different idea, I'm happy to discuss and debate. My daughter and I said, if we could create the perfect reality, we would sit in a Paris cafe, drink coffee all day, and argue philosophy and crazy conspiracy theories with old men all day. Like, it's fun. Like, I don't have to be right, just so you guys know. I just know, like, I feel truth has a frequency and a resonance, and when you see it, or like, that's it. And is it important? I don't think it's important whether it's a simulation, flat earth, round earth. The rest is incidental. You're going to exist after here. You're the only thing. You're not taking anyone with you. You're not taking your kids. You may choose them. They may choose you. They may not. They may say, that's the only time I'm hanging out with you, lady. You know, it's free will. We are so powerful. We can create our own realities. So I don't feel a need to be right. I gave that up. And I have to tell you guys, 20 years ago, I thought I knew it all. I thought everything was Satanist and Illuminati. And then I found out they're on the bottom. You know,
they're the janitors for the bad guys.
Exactly. But I just think it's funny how we think, well, I'm speaking for myself. Like, I thought I was a Christian back then. I've since given up religion because of the truth I've learned. You know, I didn't give up religion for any rebellious reason. I gave up religion because when you're shown new information, this is what a fire creation spirit reacts. This is the difference. This is how you know a clone with no spirit to a fire creation spirit. When a fire creation spirit is shown truth, whether it's a Sasquatch, whether it's a picture of a ship, whatever it is, they will say, doesn't matter how many times they believed or were programmed into believing something, they'll throw it out the window in a second. And guess what? They'll throw it out again if they need to with new information, because you're open to the resonance of truth. You desire light. You desire high frequency. You desire expansion. You don't need to be right. You don't need to cling to old beliefs. You don't need to follow a religion. I asked my parents, I said, Dad, who's a pastor, I said, Dad, how do you know the Bible is true? Because this is what I say. You don't know crap unless you have seen it and experienced it with your own being, or you would trust your life on someone who has. And there's very few people actually in this world. We could go into that too. You know, people around you, probably a lot of them are simulations, because they only surround fire creation spirits and families with simulations, because they want to keep you in the program. No one will keep you in the program like your parents, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't mean how old you are. I mean, we're speaking as adults. My parents, I'm still struggling with how to position my parents in my life. Ooh, it's hard, you know? It's hard.
We'll have to see what my boy says when he listens to this.
Oh, no. Oh, wait, who?
My son.
Oh, how old is he?
26.
Oh, wow, okay.
So he's an adult, but, you know, I still talk to him every day.
A lot of the babies being born today, you guys, again, I'll challenge you to this. Go to a restaurant and just walk by, like, that has a lot of kids, and don't be creepy, but casually, without letting people see you. Like, look in the eyes of kids. You probably have fire creation spirits, but I mean, out of 4 girls, I had one child that's not a fire creation spirit. A lot of kids are being born without souls. We're just not taught this. You know why? Because it's the end of the age. We're switching into a new age. And they're not allowing in, they don't need, everything's changing. It's just changing. they're not bringing in.
They're just trying to hang on to
You
it.
know, what we're taught about, we could go into how sex isn't what we're taught it is, and how it's not true what they say, and what most of the I'll just tell you, the military has a lot to do with most babies. Let's just put it that way. Most babies are created not by you. They're created and programmed by the military.
Oh, see, I think my son has a soul. He's a good kid. But I think he'd use it as a chance to tease me and say, "You're holding me back."
But again, I'm going to say, it doesn't matter if someone has a soul or not. They are thinking, they have emotions, they have pains. Once their pain sensors are off, which is another story. And I mean, we don't, treat them any less than whether, it's not like, oh, you're great because you have a soul. It's hard because it gets really complex here. It's just so crazy here. It's so crazy here. It really is, you guys.
Yeah, and I wonder if it started out not very simple, but much more simple than it is today. And it's just kind of taken on this craziness as you add the layer and layer and layer of.
Yeah.
I think they didn't know what they needed to have to control us. And so here comes another plane. So they had to create these tight webs of handlers and manipulate it to keep us. Okay, she can't remember. He can't remember. If you remember who you are, I'm telling you, the most life-changing thing was when I mostly completely, 90% remembered who I've been over millions of years. Changed my life. Nobody can put me down. Nobody can, because it's a resonance. You know how to make your money. You know who you are. You know your powers. It's just easier. You can get out of here, like I said, with OBE, remote viewing. It's just different life. It's like a life within a life, but this is not as confining anymore. So that's what I hope people do. Ultimately, my favorite thing is helping people remember who they are and empowering you, not to be me, but to be you.
Nice. Laura also says, talking about the aura reading of Betsy, that is Betsy for sure. I think everyone that knows Betsy recognizes how dead on that is. And then she's talking about your son-in-law, about if he's doing all that housework. I say keep the 40-year-old woman around.
My daughter said that too. She said, "Are we sure we want to remove this?"
Yeah. Kendra says this is bringing a lot of stuff to light
because truth resonates.
Yeah.
I know when I read crazy conspiracy, sometimes I read it and I just know that is not a conspiracy, and I really don't need to dig any further because it just resonates with what I know to be true.
It seems to click.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kendra also says, so can narcissists actually be a demon or be possessed by a demon? If you're with a narcissist spouse.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. 100%. Or they could just be programmed to be a handler because, a narcissist and a handler, a lot of the behavior is the same.
Same. Lots of control.
A handler, that's someone that they purposely sent down to kind of manage you.
I'll give you an example. So my mom and my dad met in this cute little romance on OSU, and they're from double bloodline families, a high-level German family, a high-level English family. Believe me, if they hadn't met, they would have brought 2 more bloodline families in to be my handlers. You know what I'm saying? So it's everything we think is. This is one of my new favorites. There is no synchronicity in the Matrix. So synchronicity, 1111, is a Matrix, computer program. Everything. I accidentally met my husband, I accidentally met my wife. That's hysterically funny to me. There are no accidents in the Matrix. Until you reach a certain frequency and you begin consciously, in the moment, actively creating your reality, and you understand how to do that, and you understand how to sort. No to this job. That's a Matrix program job. That's not me creating. That's the temptation. It's kind of like temptation, like in Christianity. Like they bring things in you. You get to say yes or no. It's choose your own adventure. But a lot of times we think, oh, it must be God's will because, I met this person on a bus. Yeah. If you want to call the demon in a Matrix computer ship on top of the Son of God, sure, it's God's will,
Ooh. So then... if let's say they throw someone in front of you, like your ex-fiance, And it doesn't work out. Do they continually try to?
Oh goodness, yes. And I, this is my choice. I'm not endorsing it. I'm endorsing it for me because it's my choice. I've had, obviously, I'm very old. I've had tons of sex as men and women. I've had, tons of marriages, tons of whatever, good, bad, whatever relationships.
Like
because
through the histories, you haven't like knocked out.
I don't
You haven't
feel
tried
the
to set the
need
Guinness Book of World
any
Records.
longer to.
We lost your sound for just a second.
But what I'm saying is, I've cut that avenue of programming out. Oh, of course I have. Have I? Did I lose my sound?
We
Really?
keep losing sound.
me now?
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to go back about
Do you have me?
2 minutes of conversation.
Oh gosh, really? I'll just put it succinctly instead of rambling like I usually do. I've chosen to be celibate for 9 years, not to date, not to have any romantic relationships, because it cuts off an avenue of control and temptation to get me off what I'm choosing, because it's just so, I'm not saying, I don't think it's wrong to choose that, but it is a program. And it's a program because you have to get a marriage license.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know it's.
Yep. I can see that. Definitely.
So my kids are like, I want to live, the religious me would have been like, no, you're not living with your boyfriend. That's sin, yada, yada. Now I'm like, please don't get married.
Yep. So
Because, it's the program.
So say in Catholicism where their priests are supposed to be celibate, I mean, they fail at times. That's come out in the news. But where they're supposed to, does that aid them in becoming, in touching in enlightenment?
So that is a little clue, the monks, the priests, to have the space in your life for wisdom. And I mean, I love sex as much as the most person, don't get me wrong, but I was usually tired after having sex. I'm sorry, maybe I was lacking in stamina or something, but I don't think it's wrong to like have sex, roll over and go to sleep. Like, that's nice. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying there's an energy cost. And not only is there an energy cost, but as a husband and wife, when why you end up looking like each other, because you merge. So your essence, your actual frequency essence, you started as two individuals, so that I call it the Bible Babble, but is actually right in that two become one, because the longer you're with someone, you actually merge together into one frequency and you start to look like them because your certain frequency looks like you. So you become closer to the same person, or a combination of the two. With energy exchange. So even if you don't have sex, laying in bed next to someone, well, I sleep with 9 dogs, so I guess that tells you something. Maybe that's why I have such an affinity for the dogmen and the Sasquatch. But you do, and that can be a healing relationship. For example, maybe you're on a consciousness path and you're a fire creation soul and your husband or wife is a clone. Well, who's benefiting from that relationship? Right. I'll tell you. It's the clone. It's the simulation. It's the player. It's the synthetic. It's not you. And I'm not saying, they just are energetically. They're benefiting from being kind of basking in your glory and your high frequency and your abilities. And they want that. They want you to be distracted, and again, I don't think they're going to even though I've had many, many lifetimes with the number of men I've met in here, and women in different aspects, but because we run into each other because we've known each other in other places, but I don't think they're going to let two people of the same power be married and hang out. That I just don't think that's going to happen. I'm not saying there can't be two real fire creation spirits. My daughter's married to one, but he's on his way out. She's on her way up. So even that isn't.
How do we know? How do we know if we're married to a clone?
You would know.
You undo their
Not
belly
everyone
button.
would know. You have the ability to discern. And I'm actually going to probably later this year or next year do a whole class on how do we discern fire creation from clones, from synthetics, from sims, because it's useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And
you have the ability right now, and you do.
We have to, next time we have to go through how to stoke the spirit. Definitely.
That's actually would be good. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
That would be kind to people. Yeah.
So Laura has a few more comments. She thought it was funny when you said, imagine having sex with a man with demons, and I just said no. She thought that was funny. And then she says, my collection of stuff that is out of hand is measuring tapes. I do own a few of those.
That's hilarious. I love that. I love that.
And then okay, so we've got it looks like we've got a guy hopping in trying to
It happens every time.
Yeah, there is someone trying to gain business by hopping in, trying to get readings, but we'll
Well, you're likely a clone. Ifatosa Adisa.
You pronounce that right off the fly like that, huh? I would have tripped over that. There'd have been me stumbling on the floor trying to read that name. But anyways, you know, Doctor, this has been a fun conversation, and it leads to so many more. We need to
Oh man, how do you sleep at night? That's my final question. With all of this humming around and
On my
knowing
left
everything,
side.
because there
Pillow
is
between
something
my
to be
legs.
said about being comfortably numb.
That is true.
Oh, sister, I hear you. You know what? Sometimes, some days, no lie, you just called it. I say, I almost married a guy, and here was what I was looking at. There is this cotton wool comfort, like a numbing drug, like Xanax. I almost married a guy and lived in a small little Ohio town and pretended to be normal. And it kind of felt good to do the same thing. Like, it kind of felt good. Do you know what? Like, it was
Yeah.
tempting. No, it really, to be 3D. But that's not my calling. And I have the best life. Like, to be free here is to be truly free. Like, it took me a long time. It wasn't easy. It wasn't instant. But to find my way to where I'm at now, it's glorious. Like,
Because you're not trapped on the prison planet. You have found the way off the prison planet.
I'm so thankful. And I really want to share that with others who are open to, that resonate with what I have to say. But again, I do respect all beliefs, and I always say time tells the whole tale. I mean, when we've got the Star Wars bar and there's all the creatures I've talked about for the last 8 years, well, argue with me.
Oh.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of people saying you've got to have her back on.
Yep.
We've really enjoyed this.
Guys, I appreciate you. I do.
Oh,
I
we
appreciate
appreciate you.
Okay, so do you have books, courses, classes, things that people can get involved in between now and the time that we have you on again, and further on beyond that?
I'm pretty prolific. I've changed my views because, I explained about that over the years. But I mean, if you type in my name, you'll get a bunch of stuff. If you go to my website, secrettoeverything.com, there's a bunch of classes, there's programs, you get on our mailing list. I'm teaching an advanced ARA class coming up later in March. I have a monthly group called Ultimate Awakening, and we cover stuff like this. It's a fairly low cost monthly fee, and you get scans, and you get interaction with crazy people like me, if you like that kind of thing, and you can ask questions. And I treat my monthly groups really well. Most of them have my personal I am connection and can ask me anything, ask for help at any time, respectfully. So really my inner group is my family here. And we have practitioner programs. If some of you are psychics or healers and you want to go to the next level, we're developing a trauma release and integration deprogramming, especially for people that have been in MK Ultra and SSP and alien abduction. There's not a lot of good, solid help that's not religious available for that. So we're working on we have some high-level doctors and nurses. We're working on a clinical program to bring people in at a very low cost, but get this huge benefit of high-level practitioners that are experienced in helping, just to be heard. Sometimes people just need to be heard and seen and not be laughed at and mocked for their experiences, because we are entering, you called it, Betsy, you said it, we're on a new timeline. My daughter, who's very psychic, called me up a couple of weeks ago. She said, Mom, the world's ready for you now. She's like, they're ready. They're ready to hear what you have to say. And that's why I got a hold of Michelle. That's why I'm on your show, because they haven't been ready. They haven't been ready for this level of, breath of truth, really. So there's lots they can take advantage of and get involved in.
Well, we'll put all that.
And I have a YouTube channel, Kimberly McGeorge, and just a lot. Thanks. I know maybe we should do this off show, but I'm also would like to promote you. And if I'd had the live link, I would have promoted you live, and my people would have came, but I didn't know. I was just teasing
I
to
didn't know
get on
I
the
was
show.
live.
I wasn't ready for that. Well, we'll put all your contact in the show notes so that if one of our listeners wants to reach out or
I'd
dig
love
in
to
a
meet
little
them.
further, yeah.
And they can also write support@KimberlyMcGeorge.com or call our number that's on the website and leave a message, and someone will call them back involved, in my staff. So we've got, people that'll, be happy to interact and answer further questions. We do have I didn't get a chance to do scans on you guys too. Like I didn't even scan you. I didn't even do your mini scans. So we have mini scans for $77 that they can get a taste, but they didn't get a taste because I was going to do you and we didn't get to it. So,
Well,
sorry.
we're gonna have you back, so we will.
Yeah, and
for
what is
sure.
what is a mini scan? An aura scan?
No, a mini scan is I tell you things you might never have wanted to know about yourself, but it's really fun for me.
Oh, goody. Goody.
No, it's like programming, beliefs, physical, it's everything because everything's a frequency, emotions, thoughts, shadow, things that's happening at night, things around you. It's anything and everything. But it's cool because I go with what you want to tell me. So we go in order. So someone might be like, do I have ghosts around me? And I'm like, sorry, we need to talk about your heart because your body's telling me we need to talk about your heart. Like we go in order, like what you're screaming to me silently that you want to talk about. So it's
I think that's a
me
whole
telling
show.
you-
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole show. We'll do,
The mini scans a whole show. I'm kidding.
yeah,
Whatever you
we'll
guys want.
we'll do definitely in the next show we'll do the mini scans, and then we'll have some kind of if someone wants to get an aura reading, we'll figure out how to put that together.
I can do mini scans on the fly too.
Yeah, so I think what we ought to do is hang out after we cut everyone out, after we stop the live, and we'll just kind of get a numbers out of you on how you think it'd work best. But
Yeah.
everyone, thanks for joining us. Everybody, thank Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. Look in the show notes if you need if you want to reach out and gain contact to any of the information she has, and we'll try to get her back on over the next month or two and have another fun show.
Check out our website, The Secret to Everything YouTube
Mhm.
channel. I actually just registered on the website. Super easy. It kind of takes you to a library where you can ad hoc, kind of join in the conversation and take classes and master your energy and stuff like that. Different trainings. So super interactive website, easy to find. Join the community.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. And everyone, thanks for joining us, and hang out and we'll finish off everything else. But yeah, and jump on her YouTube, see what she has going on there. I know that's what I'm going to be doing with the rest of my day. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Yeah. Have a great week.
Yes. Have a great weekend.
Weekend.
Mm-hmm.